The holographic display flickered to life across 10,000 worlds simultaneously. Emperor Dwagstala's crystalline form materialized in perfect clarity, his prismatic body refracting the light of 1,000,000,000,000 suns. His voice resonated through quantum channels, reaching every corner of the Zephyrian Empire. Citizens of the eternal crystalline order, today marks the completion of the Great Cleansing. The human pest has been eradicated from our galaxy. Their 47 settlements lie in ruins. Their primitive vessels drift as cosmic debris. Victory is absolute. Victory is eternal. The broadcast continued for 6 hours, detailing the systematic orbital bombardment of Earth's colonies. New Geneva reduced to molten slag in 14 minutes. Port Authority Station vaporized by concentrated plasma bursts. The agricultural worlds of Ceres Prime and Europa 7. Their domed cities cracked open like fragile eggs, their atmosphere bleeding into the vacuum of space. Zephyrians celebrated across their empire. In the crystal spires of their homeworld, harmonious frequencies rang out in triumph. Their hive mind consciousness pulsed with satisfaction. The organic contamination had been cleansed, order restored, logic triumphant over chaos. The Zephyrians had studied humanity for exactly 1.7 standard cycles before deciding on extermination. Their analysis was thorough, methodical, precise. Humans were classified as Type 3 organic primitives, emotional, irrational, technologically inferior. Their weapons were crude chemical propulsion systems. Their vessels leaked radiation. Their settlements were poorly shielded against energy weapons. The mathematical probability of human survival against Zephyrian technology was calculated at 0.0000034%. Negligible. Irrelevant. Their war doctrine was elegant in its simplicity. Strike fast, strike hard. Eliminate all resistance before it can organize. The Zephyrian battle fleets had moved through human space like a cosmic scythe, their energy shields deflecting every desperate human weapon. Their plasma cannons had carved through human hulls as if they were made of paper. 47 worlds, 15 billion humans, all accounted for in their databases, all targeted, all destroyed. Emperor Dwagstala's consciousness merged with the collective as the broadcast ended. The satisfaction was complete, mathematical, perfect. The galaxy was cleaner now, more logical, more ordered, but in the depths of space, in sectors marked as empty on every Zephyrian chart, something stirred. Their sensors, calibrated to detect energy signatures and technological emissions, had missed the shadows between stars. They had cataloged official colonies, registered settlements, known trade routes. They had calculated based on incomplete data. Strange readings flickered at the edges of their detection grids. Quantum signatures that didn't match any known technology. Communication bursts using encryption protocols that predated first contact. Energy patterns that seemed to shift and adapt, avoiding their scanning frequencies like living things. A junior technician in the monitoring station of Kepler 9 reported the anomalies. The data was processed, analyzed, categorized as cosmic background radiation, statistical noise. The hive mind dismissed it without consideration. 3 days after their victory broadcast, a Zephyrian supply convoy disappeared near the Vega system. No distress signal, no energy discharge signatures, no debris field. Simply gone, as if space itself had swallowed them whole. The convoy's disappearance was noted, filed, and forgotten. Supply routes sometimes suffer from navigation errors, equipment failures, natural phenomena. But in the quantum foam between galaxies, in hollowed-out asteroids and camouflage stations orbiting dead stars, humanity was very much alive. And they had been watching, learning, adapting. The Zephyrians had won their victory against the humans they knew about. They had never encountered the humans who had been preparing for this war since the moment first contact had gone wrong. They had never faced the humans who understood that sometimes survival meant disappearing completely. The real war was about to begin. The asteroid designated KX 7739 appeared lifeless on every scan. No electromagnetic emissions. No thermal signatures. No artificial structures. The Zephyrian survey drones had passed it by without a second glance 3 years ago, marking it as cosmic debris in their navigation charts. Inside its hollowed-out core, Admiral Sarachin watched the latest intelligence report scroll across her command display. 47 official colonies destroyed. 15 billion casualties, according to Zephyrian calculations. The numbers were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The paranoid protocols had been activated 18 months before first contact turned hostile. Every human settlement had received the same coded transmission. The stars are not safe. Go dark. Go deep. Survive. What the Zephyrians had destroyed were decoy installations, skeleton crews, and volunteers who stayed behind to maintain the illusion. The real populations had vanished into the void months earlier, scattered across 10,000 hidden installations that existed in no official database. Rogue planets ejected from dying solar systems. Artificial habitats constructed inside asteroid fields. Generation ships disguised as space debris. Underground cities carved into the hearts of dead moons. Chen's own base housed 40,000 souls in a complex that stretched 30 kilometers through solid rock. Life support systems jury-rigged from salvaged Zephyrian technology. Manufacturing facilities that could produce everything from plasma rifles to quantum communicators. Agricultural bays growing crops under artificial suns. The communication array crackled to life. Report after report flooded in from hidden cells across the galaxy. Cell Omega-7 had successfully infiltrated a Zephyrian manufacturing station on Rigel 4. Cell Beta-9 had reverse-engineered their shield technology and improved it by 37%. Cell Gamma-2 had intercepted shipping manifests, revealing critical supply vulnerabilities. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their numbers. It was their ability to adapt, to learn, to evolve under pressure. Every captured Zephyrian component became a stepping stone to something better. Their energy weapons became more efficient in human hands. Their shield generators became lighter and more responsive. Their quantum computers learned to think with human creativity instead of crystalline logic. Dr. Marcus Webb held up a modified plasma rifle, its barrel pulsing with blue-white energy that no Zephyrian weapon had ever produced. "We stripped out their limiting protocols," he explained to Chun. "Their technology was designed for predictable, logical warfare. We removed the safety margins, increased the output by 400%, and added targeting systems that learn from every shot fired." The weapon in his hands could punch through Zephyrian battle armor like tissue paper. In the workshops below, teams of engineers were mass-producing thousands more, along with improvements the Zephyrians never imagined. Stealth coding that bent sensor beams around human ships. Quantum viruses that could crash their navigation systems. Psychological warfare broadcasts designed to exploit the rigid thought patterns of hive mind consciousness. Chen activated a secure channel to coordinate with resistance cells across 17 star systems. Each cell operated independently, making their own tactical decisions, adapting to local conditions. No single point of failure. No central command structure for the enemy to target. Pure human ingenuity, multiplied across the galaxy. The first strike came without warning. A Zephyrian patrol vessel investigating radiation anomalies in the Wolf 359 system simply vanished. No distress call. No energy signatures. One moment it was there, the next it was gone, leaving only empty space and confused sensor readings. 3 more patrols disappeared over the next week. Then an entire supply convoy. Then a research station went dark. The Zephyrians analyzed the pattern, searching for logical explanations. Equipment failures, navigation errors, statistical anomalies. They never considered the possibility that 15 billion humans hadn't died at all. They had simply learned to become invisible, and now they were learning to hunt. The hijack began at 0347 Galactic Standard Time. Every Zephyrian communication array, every broadcast station, every quantum relay across their empire suddenly carried the same signal. The crystalline beings watched in stunned silence as their own technology betrayed them, displaying a transmission they could not stop, could not trace, could not understand. A human voice spoke through 10 billion speakers simultaneously. Clear, cold, absolute. "Greetings, Zephyrian Empire. You declared victory over humanity. You celebrated our extinction. You were wrong. We are Admiral Sarachun, speaking for every human soul in this galaxy. We are Dr. Marcus Webb, speaking for every scientist you tried to silence. We are Captain Lu Zhao, speaking for every soldier you failed to kill. We are 15 billion voices speaking as one. The broadcast continued, each word precisely calculated for maximum psychological impact. You bombed our colonies. We evacuated them months in advance. You destroyed our ships. They were decoys. You celebrated killing 15 billion humans. 14 billion. 700 million of us are still alive, still fighting, still learning from your mistakes. Across the Zephyrian Empire, crystalline forms froze in perfect stillness. Their hive mind consciousness recoiled from the impossibility. Their calculations had been flawless. Their intelligence absolute. The mathematics could not be wrong. The human voice grew harder. You wanted to cleanse the galaxy of organic life. You wanted to restore perfect order through genocide. Today we return the favor. This is not a declaration of war. War implies two sides with equal chances of victory. This is a declaration of genocide. Your genocide. The transmission shifted, displaying technical specifications that made Zephyrian military commanders recoil in horror. Human vessels with energy outputs exceeding their most powerful battleships. Shield technology that made their own defenses obsolete. Weapon systems that violated every principle of safe engineering. Pushed beyond rational limits into realms of destructive potential that no logical mind would attempt. We have improved your technology in ways your rigid minds could never imagine. We have infiltrated your networks, your supply chains, your command structures. We know your fleet positions, your resource allocations, your strategic weaknesses. We have been inside your system for months, learning, adapting, preparing. The broadcast paused for exactly 37 seconds, letting the implications settle into 10 billion crystalline consciousnesses. You have 72 hours to begin complete withdrawal from all systems containing human settlements, past or present. You have 1 week to evacuate all military assets from a 500 light-year radius around former human space. You have 1 month to release all captured human technology and return all stolen resources. The final words carried the weight of absolute certainty. These are not negotiations. These are not demands. These are the terms of your survival. We learn from your example. We learn that sometimes, to preserve what matters, you must be willing to destroy everything that threatens it. You taught us that mercy can be mistaken for weakness. We will not make that mistake. The transmission ended with coordinates flooding every Zephyrian database simultaneously. Target lists, strike plans, detailed tactical analyses of every major Zephyrian installation, military base, and population center. The humans weren't hiding their intentions. They were broadcasting them as psychological warfare, demonstrating total penetration of Zephyrian security systems. Emperors Wayexthala's consciousness writhed in confusion. The hive mind fractured into 1,000 competing analysis threads, each trying to process the impossible data. The humans were supposed to be extinct. The mathematics proved it. The evidence confirmed it. But mathematics meant nothing when the enemy rewrote the rules. Evidence became worthless when the opposition had been feeding you false information for months. The first human strike fleets were already moving, their signatures finally visible on Zephyrian sensors now that stealth was no longer necessary. Hundreds of vessels, thousands, each one broadcasting energy readings that defied every principle of safe engineering. The real war had begun. The Zephyrian response came exactly as human analysts predicted. Panic-driven fleet movements, desperate attempts to reinforce critical installations, frantic communications trying to coordinate a defense against an enemy that had already infiltrated every system they possessed. Admiral Chin watched the tactical displays with cold satisfaction. The first wave of human assault fleets struck 17 targets simultaneously across the Zephyrian Empire. Manufacturing stations, supply depots, communication hubs. Each target selected not just for strategic value, but for psychological impact. Every strike demonstrated human technological superiority, while revealing how thoroughly they had penetrated Zephyrian defenses. The battle for Rigel Station lasted exactly 14 minutes. Human plasma weapons, modified far beyond their original specifications, carved through Zephyrian shields like they were made of light. The station's defensive batteries, hijacked by human cyber warfare specialists, turned their fire on their own vessels. When the Zephyrian garrison finally understood what was happening, human boarding parties had already seized their command centers. The pattern repeated across the Empire. At Vega Prime, a Zephyrian battle fleet found their navigation systems compromised, their ships flying directly into fields of human minds that shouldn't have existed. At Proxima Station, their own manufacturing facilities began producing human weapons while their automated defenses locked onto Zephyrian targets. Dr. Webb's voice crackled over the secure channels from his mobile laboratory. The quantum virus is exceeding projections. Their hive mind consciousness is experiencing cascade failures every time they try to coordinate large-scale responses. They literally cannot think fast enough to match human tactical flexibility. The Zephyrians tried everything their logical minds could conceive. They activated reserve fleets hidden in deep space, only to discover human saboteurs had been aboard for weeks. They attempted to isolate their command networks, cutting themselves off from critical intelligence. They deployed their most advanced weapons, watching in horror as human ships adapted to each new threat in real time, sometimes within minutes of first contact. Captain Liu Zhao led the assault on the Zephyrian Military Academy at Altair 7. His strike force of modified human vessels moved like a coordinated organism, each ship anticipating the other's actions without need for communication. The Zephyrian defenders, locked into rigid tactical doctrines, fell apart when faced with human unpredictability. The Academy fell in 3 hours. Its databases, containing centuries of Zephyrian military knowledge, were copied and transmitted to human forces across the galaxy. The final assault on the Zephyrian homeworld began with a single message broadcast on all frequencies. You wanted to teach us about extinction. Class is now in session. The human fleet that emerged from hyperspace around the crystalline capital was unlike anything the Zephyrians had imagined possible. Vessels that bent space around themselves, making targeting impossible. Weapons that fire not energy or matter but pure entropy, causing Zephyrian technology to simply stop functioning. Shields that didn't just deflect attacks but absorb them, growing stronger with each impact. Emperor Zuwayaxthala's last transmission was a single word: impossible. The human response came from Admiral Chin herself. You calculated the probability of our survival at 0.0000034%. You forgot to factor in the most important variable. We're human. Impossible is what we do best. The Zephyrian surrender came within the hour. Complete, unconditional, absolute. The galaxy watched as humanity emerged from the shadows, no longer the primitive species that could be safely ignored. They had taken the technology of their would-be exterminators and made it better. They had faced impossible odds and turned them into inevitable victory. The lesson echoed across 1,000 worlds. Never mistake human kindness for weakness. Never confuse human cooperation with inability to fight. And never, ever assume that driving humanity to the edge of extinction will make them easier to defeat. It only makes them more dangerous.